Welcome to the Explainer. We're surrounded by cell towers, they're everywhere. But what if I told you one of them could be an imposter? A fake, designed not to connect you, but to listen in. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the secret world of surveillance and how your phone can be tracked by an invisible tower.
Okay, so take a look at this. This little box is called an IMSI-Catcher. Now, I know, it doesn't look like much, right? It's kind of unassuming, maybe something you'd find in a high school science lab. But don't let its looks fool you. This piece of hardware is powerful enough to turn your phone into a completely open book. And it does it by pretending to be a real, legitimate cell tower. It's a pretty chilling thought, isn't it? Could a fake cell tower be tracking your phone right now? The thing is, this technology exists, and it's probably more widespread than you think. So the real question is, how would you even know? That's what we're going to get into. To really understand the threat, first we need to get our heads around the technology itself. So what exactly is this tower in disguise?
Well, an IMSI catcher, you'll sometimes hear it called a Stingray, basically tricks your phone. It gets your phone to connect to it instead of a real cell tower. By squeezing itself right there between you and your network, it pulls off what's known in the biz as a man-in-the-middle attack. And once it's in the middle, it can get access to your data.
So you're probably wondering, wait a minute, my smartphone is a supercomputer that fits in my pocket. How could it possibly fall for a trick like this? Well, it's not actually a flaw in your phone. It's an exploit of a very basic rule about how all mobile networks are designed to work. See, your phone is basically programmed with one simple goal: find the best signal possible. It's always searching, always looking for that strong connection to give you clear calls and fast downloads. An IMSI catcher takes advantage of this by, shouting louder than all the real towers around it. It just blasts out an incredibly powerful signal that your phone is designed to find irresistible. So let's just walk through the attack. First, it pretends to be the best tower in town with that super strong signal. This forces every single phone in the area to automatically connect to it. Then comes the really sneaky part. It pulls off a downgrade attack. It shoves your phone off a secure 4G or 5G connection and forces it down to the old unencrypted 2G network. And just like that, with your security stripped away, it can grab your phone's unique IMSI number and listen in on your calls and data. So why does this even work? It all comes down to this one-way trust relationship from the old 2G standard. Think of it like this. It's a one-way ID check. Your phone has to prove to the tower who it is, but the tower, it doesn't have to prove anything to your phone. The MSI catcher completely exploits that blind trust. And you should know, not all of these catchers are the same. A passive one is kind of like a digital census taker. It just wants to know who's in the area, so it pings your phone, grabs its unique ID, and then lets you go. But an active catcher, that's a whole different beast. It acts like a rogue telephone operator, sitting right in the middle of your connection, intercepting calls, texts, and data in real time. This all begs a pretty big question, right? If this technology is out there, who on earth is actually using it, and why? Well, the list of users is actually pretty diverse. You've got law enforcement and intelligence agencies who are the primary users. They deploy devices like the Stingray to track suspects, but the tech is also used for things that are way less controversial, like in search and rescue missions to find missing people. And get this, it really shows the range. Even the Scottish Prison Service publicly admitted they use them to stop prisoners from using illegal phones. As you can probably guess, anytime you have a surveillance tool this powerful, it kicks off a huge debate. And this one pits the needs of security and law enforcement directly against our right to privacy. And this quote right here, it gets to the absolute heart of the problem for civil liberties groups. A lot of the time, law enforcement can use these devices without getting a full-blown search warrant. They operate in a sort of legal gray area, and that lack of strong judicial oversight is a huge point of contention. And this isn't just a debate happening in one place, it's a global conversation. While some countries are pretty permissive, others, like Germany, have put much, much stricter laws in place that control when and how these devices can be used. It really just highlights this worldwide struggle to balance security needs with personal privacy. So all of this brings us right back to where we started. With this stuff happening silently in the background, is there any way for an ordinary person like you or me to know if we're being monitored? Honestly, spotting one is incredibly difficult, and that's by design. But there are a few potential clues. The biggest giveaway would be if you see your phone's network suddenly drop from a fast 4G connection down to an ancient 2G signal, especially if you're in a city with great service.
Here's another weird one. If a call you make doesn't show up on your itemized phone bill later. Why? Because it was routed through the catcher, not your carrier. But really, these are tiny hints, and most of the time, the whole operation is invisible.
So what can you actually do about it? Well, there are some apps that try to spot these network tricks, but they're pretty limited by the phone's own software. The most effective defense, it turns out, isn't about detecting the catcher. It's about making your data useless to it. Using apps that have end-to-end encryption is your best bet. It means that even if your connection gets hijacked, the content of your messages and calls is completely scrambled and secure. That layer of protection is the real key. And that really leaves us with one final big thought. As technology like this becomes more common, just operating silently all around us, it really forces us to ask ourselves some tough questions. In a world of invisible surveillance, where our own phones can be turned against us, what does privacy truly mean anymore?